guys, today I'm going to talk about my physical health and kind of what's been going on the last 3 months. So with all of that being said, I think the first diagnosis that I'm going to talk about is HS. I will be very honest, and I do not know how to pronounce HS, but I will put the word right here and be my guest in trying to figure out how to pronounce that, because I don't know and I have it. So I'll kind of read a little description on Google what it says HS is, and it says a chronic skin condition featuring lumps in places such as the armpits or groin. The skin lesions develop as a result of inflammation and infection of sweat glands. More than 200,000 US cases per year. Treatment can help, but this condition cannot be cured. Requires a medical diagnosis, lab test, or imaging is not required, and it's chronic, which means it can last for years or a lifetime. Common places that HS can be in is under your breasts, in your armpits, your groin, the crease where your butt cheeks come together, like your butt crease, or like around your butt. It could be in your inner thighs. You can basically get HS anywhere as long as there are sweat glands and as long as there is hair follicles. There's not a whole lot of research about HS, so it's very hard to understand the diagnosis really, because there's not a lot of information out there. And the information that is out there kind of tells us that basically what it is, it's where a hair follicle gets infected or inflamed and then causes a lump, a lesion, a bump. People call them boils. They're not boils, they're not pimples. It's in the acne family, but it's not acne. It's not contagious. It's not because you're overweight. It's not from uncleanliness. So let's kind of get into how I discovered I had HS. So I started my period in 5th grade. HS is thought to be as a hormonal condition as well. So usually when you go into puberty is whenever you will start to realize that you have HS. So I started my period in 5th grade, but I didn't really pay any attention to it. The time when I really started to recognize that I had something, but I wasn't sure what, was about, I'd say, my sophomore or junior year of high school, maybe even freshman year. I would get what I thought were just ingrown hairs on my inner upper thighs. And they were really painful and red and inflamed. Didn't really think anything of it. I started the Depo shot, as a lot of people have seen on my video. I started Depo-Provera when I was 17 years old, so that stopped my period. And then for the next 4.5, almost 5 years, I cannot really recall too many times when I would have one of these ingrown hairs. It was like very rare when I would get one, and I'd be like, I don't know, that's weird, whatever. So then fast forward to 2019, and in February or January, I got one under my breast, and I had never gotten one under my breast before, and I kind of was a little bit worried about it, and that thing stayed for 6 months, and I did not pay attention to it because I didn't have good health. I didn't have health insurance actually in 2019 in January. I just thought, you know, I'm gonna ignore it. So I did, and it didn't really do me any good because it left a pretty gross scar, and now the scar is pretty much, you can't really see it very well, but I really was worried about it, and I did a lot of research, and HS kept coming up, and I'm thinking, there's no way I have this. My stuff is not anywhere nearly as bad as these pictures that are on Google. I don't have HS. Once I stopped the Depo-Provera and once my periods came back is when I noticed that my flare-ups started happening more often. So I did some more research and again kept coming back to HS, kept coming back to HS. So once I had finished my practicum, I graduated, and then I applied for a job, and that's the place that I'm currently at now, and I've been there a year and a couple of months. I got hired in June of 2019. So with my insurance, if you get a regular health checkup, you will get money put in towards like a flex account, so like that's money that you can spend towards your health or like your health, and it's just free money basically if you get a yearly annual exam. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll get the exam. So September of 2019, I went ahead and booked the appointment, and I went in, she checked everything, I was good. But I had mentioned to her that I was a little concerned that I might have HS, and I had a couple of scars, and then I had, I think underneath my breast, I still at that time had either it was just starting to close up almost completely, or it was just a scar. And so she's like, well, let me see your scars. And so I showed her under my breast, I showed her my inner thighs, which was very awkward and uncomfortable because I was in a women's exam, and so that means I'm not wearing any clothing, and I just have like a sheet and like a little thing over me. And she's very rude about it and is like, well, just open your legs, like show me. And I'm just like, okay, like sure, let me just spread my legs open with no clothes on. So she looked at them and was like, well, I don't know, it could be HS, but I don't think it is. And if it is, then you just need to lose weight, because the only reason why they're happening in your inner thighs is because you have a lot of friction happening, and so that's why it's happening. So if you do have HS, it's a very rare, or it's a very small amount, and you just need to lose weight and it'll go away. Now, let me tell you, that entire appointment, all she was talking about was my weight and told me how I need to lose weight. I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. Lady, I know, I can see the scale number, I can see how short I am, I know I'm overweight. Like, this is what's very frustrating about going to doctor's offices, going to appointments with someone like me who's overweight, because anytime you have anything wrong with you, they chalk it up to you just need to lose weight and it'll go away. With HS, weight does, for some people, cause problems. It's very evident that if you have friction and you have a boil, that boil is going to have a much longer healing process and cause more inflammation and heat in that area than if you had less weight or if your thighs were not rubbing together. However, there are people who are 110 pounds and 5'8" and have HS. I felt embarrassed and ashamed. I did not ever go back to that doctor's office again, because that was extremely humiliating, and she gave me a bunch of pamphlets about cutting out fast food and going on walks and exercising and eating fruits and vegetables, and just kept telling me I need to quit eating fast food. And I'm like, okay, bitch, like this is the things I already know, so whatever. Fast forward to a couple months ago, I decided I 100% know I have this. I need to go to a dermatologist. I found out that that's the doctor that will help me, and I don't need to jump through all these hoops and loops, because the dermatologist is going to be someone who I for sure know will help me. I went ahead and went to the doctor about 3 months ago, and I have my doctor's appointment coming up for my 3-month checkup on August 26th, I believe, and today's August 9th. So it's coming up soon. Put me on doxycycline hyclate 100 milligrams. The tablets, take 1 tablet by mouth twice daily. And it did say that it could cause headaches and dizziness, and it also told me to stay away from sunlight. So I took almost the entire bottle of the first round, and then I started getting severe headaches, to the point where it was hard for me to function. And I have been waiting and calling and like battling getting another different medication from my dermatologist. I called, and I guess they prescribed me a medication, and then the medication was not the generic brand, so my insurance wasn't going to cover it. So then the pharmacy kicked it back, and then my dermatologist decided, okay, well, I'll go ahead and just prescribe you a topical solution, which was citrate or something. I don't remember exactly what it was called. So then I go to pick up the medication, and they're like, oh, 2 prescriptions, and I'm like, what? So I ended up getting them, and then noticed that this thing was here and I could pay for it because it was $10. And so I'm like, okay, then they must have gotten the medication correct because I picked this up. So this is the minocycline 100 milligram capsules, and it is take 1 capsule by mouth twice daily, and it causes drowsiness and dizziness, and it can also cause headaches and a bunch of other things. So basically, both of these medications are for acne. They are as far as I know, antibiotic medication. People take these long term for HS, and sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. So I'm very weary about taking antibiotics because you can build a resistance up to it if you take it for a longer period of time. But apparently it's okay to take it for a long period of time because it's a different type of antibiotic. So that's the medication I'm on, and I also have these wipes that I use in the shower every single time I shower. I have to shower every day. They want me really to be using it 2 times a day, but that's really unrealistic for me to shower twice a day. Thankfully, I've only had 2 flare-ups under my breasts, 1 on each side. Those are finally healed and gone, but I get them on my inner thighs. I actually have one on my left inner thigh that I got like yesterday that popped up, and that sucks because it hurts really bad when it's on my inner thighs. And then I mostly get them on my butt. So it's like the crease of my butt. Very painful. It's very embarrassing to talk about at times. It's very humiliating, and it kind of causes me to feel like self-conscious about my body. But those are the main places that I get it. But I have gotten it on my groin before. I've gotten it on my inner thighs, my breast. I've not gotten them on my underarms, thankfully. That can be a really, really bad place for some people to get flare-ups, but I never thought I would get it under my breast, and then one popped up, and then recently in the last couple of months, even after my dermatologist appointment when I was already on Doxy for like a month or so, that one popped up under my breast, and it was pretty bad. So yeah, I don't really know why it happened. That's kind of what I'm doing right now for treatment with HS. I don't really know if the medication and the wipes are supposed to be helping getting rid of it completely or just lowering my flare-ups, but it kind of sucks because it's just really frustrating to deal with it all. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I was diagnosed with it. I'm seeing a dermatologist. It sucks because it's $50 every time I go see her because she's a specialist. So yeah, but I know a lot of people are ashamed of having HS, and I feel like it's just not fair to have that stigma attached to it. So I wanted to bring awareness to it and talk about it and share my experience with it, and hopefully it will help someone else. Not everybody does well to treatment. Not everybody gets better. Some people get worse. There's like a staging system, I guess, like stage 1, 2, and 3. 3 is the worst, 1's the most mild. My dermatologist didn't tell me anything about the stages. She just said I have a mild form of it, but the most important thing with HS is to start treatment as soon as possible, because the worse your HS gets and the more flares you have, then the more likely you are to start having them tunnel. So they basically connect, and then it creates like a big crater in your skin, and it can cause a lot of damage and a lot of scarring and infection. So the earlier you can get it diagnosed and start treating on it, and you can start experimenting, then the better outcome you will have. Typically, some people just have bad luck with it. As far as I know, I'm one of the only people who has HS in my family. My mom told me that she had gotten some bumps on her inner thighs as well throughout her like 20s and 30s, and like just didn't really think anything of it. But I had a couple of cousins who also had a couple of bumps and stuff, but none of them had them like I did. So I don't know if they just had like ingrown hairs and like theirs was normal or whatever, but mine was not, unfortunately. The thing that sucks about HS is you are more prone to have other conditions with that. So that kind of ties into my very next video that I'm going to be filming now, and I discovered that you are 13 times more likely to have PCOS if you have HS. And I'm in a support group for HS, and I have noticed a lot of women in there have PCOS, and I also recently got diagnosed with PCOS. So I'm gonna make a video on that right after this. I'm actually gonna like wrap this up and then make a video about that, because that's a whole story in of itself. But I wanted to just get this out there, bring awareness to it. So hopefully this will give you some insight on what HS is and what it is not. I am obviously a rookie when it comes to this stuff. I just got diagnosed this year in like May. I know I've had HS for a long time, but I got the official diagnosis. But the doctor that I saw, she she at least was knowledgeable about HS and is currently treating other HS patients. She was very quick and wanted me to get out of there really quickly. My appointment was very awkward, especially with COVID-19. Everything is just really weird right now, and I don't want to be at the doctor very often, but I have health conditions that I need to be taken care of, so I have to go. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up now. I'm gonna leave a couple of links below about information about HS. I really like this website. It's called like No BS About HS. If you have any questions, I'm pretty much an open book. I'm very willing to talk about HS and about my other stuff that's going on, so hopefully this video helped someone or made someone feel less alone in their diagnosis. Just know that it's not your fault, it's nothing you did, it's nothing that you contributed to, so don't feel guilty or bad. I'm gonna go to my dermatology appointment at the end of this month and kind of see what she wants me to do, what's the next game plan, and work with my gynecologist as well, because I do have PCOS and those both apparently are intertwined, so yeah, great. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. I hope that this video helps someone out there who may be struggling with HS or who knows someone with HS. Or if you are afraid you have HS and you're not sure, go to a dermatologist. You can ask me questions below. Thank you guys so much for watching. May all your stars align, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.